Hello, everyone. So, this is going to be a little strange, very unconventional. Um, but sometimes I'll wake up and I'll just have an epiphany of sorts, kind of like a revelation or a word of knowledge. But this is something that, like, I'll wake up and I'll have clarity. I'll put it that way. But this has been dawning on me more and more and more, and so I told you, if you've been tracking with me for the last year or two, you know that my discernment has been getting sharper and sharper, and the Lord tells me who's Nephilim and who's fallen angel people, and I'm still learning in a sense what fallen angel people are. I believe it's a term that I believe the Lord told me to use. Where Cain went and got his wife was fallen angel people. And I believe that they are a type of fallen angel. I believe that there's multiple types of fallen angels, and one form of them the Lord told me to call fallen angel people. And that's where Cain got his wife. Now, the reason I'm making this video right now is to talk about their voices. Just, like, this is nothing that anyone really needs to know. Well, I could be wrong, but anyway, this is just whatever the Lord is revealing to me, so I'm just sharing it. It's very intriguing. But anyway, so I'm gonna make a confession, which I kind of already have, I think, but since I moved into this house, I've backslid a little bit in regards of listening to secular music. So in July of 2021, the Lord officially told me to stop listening to secular music. Now, I had pretty much overall predominantly stopped listening to secular music for years. When I went to Colorado, I lived in Colorado about 7 years, and like shortly thereafter, I stopped listening to secular music because my iPod broke, and I was just drawn more and more to the Christian stations, and or just listening to nothing at all in the car. And anyway, Colorado was very much a particular wilderness season, and I was just drawn deeper and deeper into God, and so anyway, but lately, I've actually been going into my music library and listening to particular stuff, but not other particular stuff. But anyway, when I've been sorting through my stuff lately, I've been kind of jamming out to one of my favorites, Johnny Lang. And I've talked about Johnny Lang before on this channel. Johnny Lang is a blues artist. I'm 40 years old. I graduated high school in year 2000, when I was 17. And he came out, he made it big when I was in high school. So I guess he's around my age, but he was like 14, 15, 16 years old when he hit it big as a musician. He was kind of a blues prodigy of sorts, blues guitar prodigy. And anyway, he came out with a Christian album, years later, and it's just really good music. Now, as we know, Lucifer, before he rebelled, led worship in heaven. And so music is Lucifer's, Satan's specialty, shall we say. So I'm going to be kind of jumping around all over here, but hopefully you can follow with me. So let's go back several months. I want to say August, this past August. One night, all of a sudden, something popped up in my thread on YouTube regarding Bigfoot or Sasquatch or whatever. And I was just drawn, I was led to listen to a few videos or whatever. And I learned that apparently, under the topic of, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call that, there is what is called samurai chatter. Samurai chatter. And so people have reported that when these creatures, these Bigfoot creatures, are around, that you can hear this samurai chatter. And it sounds kind of like otherworldly. Sounds like it's like from like another dimension of sorts. It has this element to it. And let's go back even farther. So the last time I had a home where I was able to have my stuff out of storage, when I was living in Chattanooga, my live-in landlord, who was absent most of the time, he reminded me quite a bit of my ex-husband, and the Lord has told me that my ex-husband is fallen angel people, and then the Lord told me that that landlord there in Chattanooga was fallen angel people. And he was very tall and slender, as was my ex-husband, and he had a particular sophistication to his voice. And if we go back even farther, I don't know if it was 2020, 2021, or 2020, somebody who was big in the Christian community at that point, I'm not going to say names, although I don't think it would matter if I did say this person's name, but anyway, they were sharing, in terms of predictive programming, they were sharing on their channel little like clips, little snips of, I don't know if it was a movie or a TV show. It's not End of Days, but maybe Days End, something like that. I think that was the title. But it's basically this fictional story about how aliens, quote unquote, as we know, fallen angels, make contact, and they're in communication with human beings for like years on end. They allow the human beings make all these agreements with the aliens, and then it's not for years later that the aliens that the alien that they're talking to finally shows up in physical form, and everyone's freaked out and whatever. And but the voice that this alien, this fallen angel, has is very, I don't know what other adjective to use, but sophisticated. Sophisticated. That's how my ex-husband was. That's how the landlord in Chattanooga was. I don't know how else to describe it, but what I'm realizing is that it's within a certain like frequency range in terms of sound. And so anyway, I just woke up. It's like 6 something in the morning. You know, I got up to use the restroom or whatever, and then this revelation just came to me. So recently I had a subscriber that I've been emailing with, and he mentioned that he likes blues. And anytime I hear that anybody likes blues, I perk up and I'm like, oh, do you like Johnny Lang? Because I love Johnny Lang, you know. And even just yesterday, I was jamming out to some Johnny Lang, you know. And I just knew it. And then I asked the Lord to confirm what I knew, what I knew he was saying to me. He said Johnny Lang is fallen angel people. Now what's interesting is this one subscriber of mine yesterday, I emailed them and I was just kind of sharing how there's only a couple of songs by Kenny Wayne Shepherd band that I like in terms of blues. And there was one song that I had in my library in terms of blues by Eric Clapton that I liked. And so I just sat down and I asked the Lord, I'm like, wait a minute, Lord. Johnny Lang is fallen angel people. Now, Johnny Lang has a very distinct voice, as does Kenny Wayne Shepherd. And the Lord said that both Johnny Lang and Kenny Wayne Shepherd are fallen angel people. And I said, okay, Lord, what about Eric Clapton? And he said, Eric Clapton is Nephilim. Now, Eric Clapton has more of a quote-unquote normal voice. But if you are into these artists, you know what voice I'm talking about when I say Johnny Lang, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, right? There's a certain, I don't know how to describe it. There's a certain like masculine sophistication. I don't know, for lack of a better word. And so I'm realizing what Satan sounds like, in a sense, I guess. I'm realizing that these fallen angel people, they have a voice range that it's within a certain range. I'm not going to claim to know what that is. You know, I'm not a scientist or whatever, but that there's a certain, yeah, I guess range of vibration or whatever you call it, in terms of audible sound, in terms of voices, that's their voice. And oh, and here's something else that was dawning on me in the last maybe week or two. So last month, the Lord was really using this actor, Robert Pattinson, to really show me, well, he was basically leading me up to giving that word about fame, right? About celebrities, which I'm now realizing is a trend in the prophetic. Murder to Grace, she mentioned, like, God gave her a word that I shared on the community page, and he mentioned celebrities. There's another prophetess. I can't think of her name. I'm drawing a blank, but I know she came out with something recently that the title said, "Don't watch the screen," or something like that. And now the Lord is using the Grammys to talk about the celebrities and all of that, you know. So, but I'm gonna sneeze, I think. But anyway, last month, the Lord led me. He drew my attention. Hold on. Always when I'm recording. Sorry. Anyway, he drew my attention to this actor, Robert Pattinson, and was showing me certain things and everything. And he said that Robert Pattinson is Nephilim. And so one of the movies that Robert Pattinson recently recently was in is a movie called The Batman. And if you go on YouTube, it seems to be called Sigma Edit. I don't know what that means or whatever, but apparently, I guess it's part of the soundtrack of that movie or whatever, but there's a particular song that they play in this particular scene where he's standing there, like, right next to a car with his long trench coat, kind of, not trench coat, but like trench coat, trench business coat, whatever. And the music, the voice in the music of that movie reminds me of the samurai chatter. And I'm just taking note of all this. And so it's like they're trying to subliminally, through music now, desensitize us to the samurai chatter of these Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them, which are some form of, you know, fallen angel of sorts, you know. And they're like working that kind of sound, that kind of audible frequency into the music now to like desensitize us to it and even make it seem cool and hip. So anyway, I'm just sharing my observation and revelation. Just interesting. Just interesting. I'm just floored. I'm very disappointed regarding Johnny Lang. But it just makes sense. It just makes so much sense. So anyway, some of you are going to think I'm wackadoo, and some of you are totally going to get it, and whatever. So anyway, I just thought I'd share. For exposing these people for what they are in this video, in the name of Yeshua the Christ of Nazareth, I forbid retaliation from Lucifer, his fallen angels, Nephilim, binders, demons, witches, warlocks, and sorcerers against my domain.